There's a lot of critics, that have a lot to say about, Boom, the college basketball world just got shaken. Before we dive in, make sure you smash that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and hit subscribe because this is a moment you do not want to miss. Dawn Staley has been under fire, critics talking loud, media pushing narratives, and fans demanding answers. But tonight, Dawn Staley steps forward and boom, she answers the backlash head on. No silence, no sidest stepping, just raw leadership, honesty. In that trademark fire that built South Carolina into a powerhouse. Sit down, get ready, and let's get into the moment. Everything exploded. Dawn Staley had seen firestorms before, but this one was different. The cameras were in her face. Reporters were blasting headlines, and talk shows were calling her out hour after hour. It wasn't even 24 hours after the incident when national sports media erupted with fury, analysts questioning her decisions, her leadership, and even her character. Dawn sat in her office inside Colonial Life Arena, the echoes of bouncing balls and squeaking shoes coming from practice down the hall, and she exhaled slowly. She needed to respond, but she needed to respond in her way, calm, measured, and with the truth. The media backlash had begun the moment the suspension was announced. Some commentators insisted she was being too harsh, others claimed she wasn't tough enough, some insisted she had lost control of the locker room. Dawn Staley watched headlines fly past her screen, each one louder and more dramatic than the last. ESPN panels debated her coaching style, Twitter was on fire, fans were divided, her name was trending in all caps and not in the celebratory way she preferred. She took a deep breath. These things came with the territory. Success always brought a spotlight, and spotlights burned hot, but what bothered Dawn most wasn't the attention, it was the idea that people outside the locker room believed they understood what was going on inside it. Her players trusted her, they believed in the system, they knew she would protect them before she ever protected her own reputation. That was what made her program successful year after year. So as the noise grew louder, Dawn kept working. She walked into practice that afternoon, whistle hanging from her neck, and the room went silent. Her team could feel the tension in the air. Some players were scrolling through their phones as they stretched, seeing the commentary. A few avoided eye contact. She clapped twice loudly, in the room snapped back into focus. We play basketball, she told them. We don't play narrative, we don't play Twitter, we play basketball. The energy shifted instantly. Players put their devices away, they locked in. And that was Dawn's magic. No matter how high the flames outside burned, she knew how to keep the house calm inside. But as practice continued, her phone buzzed repeatedly from the scorer's table. General managers, university officials, fellow coaches, reporters, friends. Everyone wanted a statement. She ignored them all until practice ended. When her players finally left the gym, she sat alone in the bleachers, sweat still drying on the wood floors. She opened her phone and saw a message from an old coaching mentor. You don't owe the media anything, you owe your kids the truth. That hit her because that was how she'd always lived. Protect the team, tell the truth, stand firm even when the winds change. Late that night, Dawn agreed to one interview, not a sports debate table, not a podcast that wanted hot quotes, but a sit down with a journalist she trusted. When the cameras rolled, Dawn kept her voice steady. I don't coach by press releases, she said. I coach by principles, and sometimes that means the outside world doesn't see what's happening inside this family. The next question came fast and direct. Do you believe the criticism you're receiving is fair? Dawn leaned back. Considering, I believe people are reacting emotionally, she said, but leadership isn't emotional. Leadership requires standards. If I stop holding this program to the standards that built it, then I'm not doing my job. Her words traveled fast, clips flooded the internet within minutes. Fans and analysts reacted instantly. Some praised her composure, some doubled down, but Dawn's reaction wasn't over, not yet. The next day, she called a team meeting and shut the doors. No cameras, no Reporters just the team, she told them. Exactly what the media was saying, and then she told them what she thought. We're going to write our own story, she told them. They can argue on TV, we'll answer on the court. The room erupted. With applause, players stood up. Shouting, nodding, bumping fists. The bond was intact and stronger than before. That evening, a major sports show continued the argument with a panel debating whether Dawn had lost control of her team. Clips showed trainers, highlight reels, and heated commentary. One pundit smirked, Staley is in over her head this time. Dawn watched the segment from home and shook her head. They always went too far. They never understood that teams weren't built in the headlines, they were built in long practices, late nights, honest conversations, and shared battles. She clicked the TV off. The next morning, the Gamecocks held the most aggressive practice of the season, full contact drills, high-pressure simulations, emotional scrimmages. Dawn moved through the gym like a general, encouraging players, challenging them, demanding excellence through every possession. Her staff whispered that she was coaching with a fire they hadn't seen in a long while. When practice ended, Dawn gave the team one final reminder: they talk today, they talk tomorrow, but in March, April, we'll see whose voices are still loud. Meanwhile, social media was beginning to turn. Fans were posting clips of Dawn hugging players in post-game moments, defending them, press conferences celebrating their academic achievements. Analysts who once criticized her were now saying she had handled the moment with championship level poise. A shift had begun, but Dawn wasn't chasing validation, she was preparing for the next game. On game night, Colonial Life Arena roared as the team ran out of the tunnel. Reporter crowded the media pen, eager to see how Dawn would handle the pressure. Cameras stayed locked on her every move. Then the unexpected happened. The team delivered one of the most dominant and intense performances of the season. Every rebound was violent, every fast break was ruthless, every defensive possession was personal. Fans in the arena could feel that it wasn't just basketball anymore, it was a statement. When the buzzer sounded, the scoreboard left nothing to debate. The team huddled together in midcourt. Dawn stood slightly apart, arms crossed, completely calm. In the post-game presser, the first question came fast: what do you say to the critics now? Dawn looked the reporter dead in the eyes. I don't need to say anything, she replied. My team just did. The room went silent. Cameras clicked loudly. Then Dawn leaned forward. But for the record, she continued, voice confident but controlled, criticism doesn't scare me. Pressure doesn't scare me. Losing ourselves, that's the only thing I'll never let happen. A few reporters clapped softly. One national writer later tweeted that it was the strongest press conference moment of the year. After the media cleared out, Dawn returned to the locker room. Her players looked up at her waiting. She smiled. Y'all played with heart tonight, she said, and that's how you quiet a storm. Several players hugged her. Their bond was unshaken, perhaps even stronger than before. The season rolled forward, and though commentary continued across the country, Dawn had once again done what she always did: led her team through it without breaking. Headlines would fade, the noise would shift to the next drama, the next controversy, the next debate segment. But Dawn Staley and her Gamecocks marched forward, unbothered, united, and ready for the next challenge, because when the world talks loudest, they play even louder. And in the end, that was her answer to the backlash all along. And that's going to do it for today's breakdown. If you felt that boom of Dawn Staley's response just like we did, make sure you smash that like button, drop a comment sharing your reaction, and subscribe so you never miss another major moment in college basketball. This season is only getting wilder, the headlines are only getting louder, and we'll be here covering every twist, every shock, and every storyline as it happens. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next